Okay, true or false? True or false? Since I was arrested, I've been treated in contravention of the Geneva Convention. Is that true or false? Have you been hazing me, thinking that you were playing a joke on me, but actually facilitating the widespread, um, like solicitation and like widespread publishing of US state intelligence secrets, methods, sources, and methods for 6 years? And every single time anybody has sent a report about it, you've laughed and said, "This is funny." Do you understand how I'm not the problem here? It's like, it's the thing, like I say, I don't miss you, I miss somebody else. It's like, how the fuck could I miss you with what you're doing to me? How could I miss you with what you're doing to me? I'm not using you here saying you fucking use me. You've never been present, okay? So the Geneva Convention doesn't apply to the Australian treatment of American personnel or American support personnel or American contractors when they're inside Australia. The Geneva Convention. So if you watch the movie Rescue Dawn and you watch the movie The Killing Fields, that's like one day of my life out of 6 years of the same of stuff that's even worse. I've been tortured physically here, hey, and mentally and everything. So, do you understand that the problem is you decided that you didn't have to follow the Geneva Convention with me like 6 years ago as an Australian, as a Brit, reporting to Eric Phillips all the time and saying, you better watch yourself, and reporting to Eric Phillips. And you're like, we don't have to treat him under the rules of the Geneva Convention. What is it? What is it? What's a military tribunal? What would a military tribunal? Okay, so let's have a look at it. Let's think about it. Military tribunal perspective. Okay, let's look at similar cases from historical precedences, right? Let's think about some historical precedences. I don't think there's any real historical precedences, but as I said, like my family's been held in prison and everything, but this is like World War II, Stasi, like the degradation thing. Like every time I made a complaint, they took that complaint and they absorbed it into thinking that, okay, precedent, right? Goring, okay? Like, and the Nazi and Himmler and the Nazi guys at Nuremberg. Nuremberg is the best comparison. You have committed war crimes against an Australian citizen openly, and every different type of crime, admittedly, right up until the last minute that you realize that 6 years ago you should have been following the Geneva Convention and this is my fault. I could have explained to you, lady, this if you would have listened to me 6 years ago on the beach instead of saying, "Oh, I've seen your DNA. Bye bye." You didn't think that the Geneva Convention applied to me. You didn't think so. You've held me hostage here as a US contractor, which is really, I mean, it's very highly unusual for the Australian government to be holding a US contractor as a political prisoner for any amount of time, let alone for 6 years, let alone every single fucking SOS I've sent has been ignored. And it's all been like, oh, it comes down to this girl, she has to sort it out. You've compromised NATO, like Russia and India and all those dudes. They know all of our sources and methods now because of the fucking Caloundra police deciding that the Geneva Convention does not apply to them. The Geneva Convention is how you it is. It's like the human rights document on how one keeps prisoners of war. They were keeping me as a prisoner of war, as a POW here, knowing that I was an American fucking contractor the whole time. But every time I say I'm an American contractor, they know how much trouble they're in for the fucking it up the first time, and they try to tell you that they're wrong, even though they've been demonstrably proved wrong. So, Albanese, man, look, you wrote shit on fucking the day JFK was shot, right? You started shit with me. You started shit with me on January 6th, 2 years in a row, man. You started shit on the June 5th, the day that fucking RFK was shot. 9/11, 4th of July, man. And then you did on Kennedy's birthday again to a US contractor, and then all the phone calls and all of the financial threat and then the starvation and everything. You had to follow the Geneva Convention. It's like girl boss doesn't overrule the Geneva Convention under any circumstance. And as I said, like this is a fucking DEI failure because under any regular circumstance, such situation would not happen that a female would be allowed to get her government and her country, everybody into such trouble for just not listening. Women regularly don't listen and they're fucking stubborn, but she doesn't listen as a fucking art. And look at where it's gotten us. So you decided, the Calandra decided that they do not like, okay, so the Calandra fucking boxing, right? You pinched the fucking punching bags and they nearly dropped it on my head, right? You guys have been saying I'm too aggressive. I'm an American prisoner of fucking war. I've fucking told you dudes like 10 million fucking times at the fucking club. I told Terry I'm John's fucking nephew. I'm the DIA nephew. Okay? So Terry thought that the fucking Geneva Convention doesn't apply to him. Jason Hunt believed the Geneva Convention doesn't apply to him and that all of the fucking crazy experiments that he's usually not allowed to do, the Nazi experiments, could be snuck in under the special fucking COVID laws, the health laws. So it's a contravention of the Geneva Accords to falsify medical records of a prisoner. You're not allowed to do cruel and unusual torture, psychological deprivation, food deprivation, sleep deprivation. I mean, these are all part of the UN Charter. And countries like China are and Iran and Iraq and maybe Afghanistan are the only countries in the world that get away with this shit. Usually, they're the only ones who ever even attempted would do it. So somebody told these guys they were so certain of the fact that America and Australia are not interconnected. I mean, they don't understand diplomacy. And I was trying to explain them from the beginning, like, I understand this from a diplomatic perspective. You don't. I'm coming at this from a different angle. Like, you're not thinking about like downstream and upstream of this. So they've been harassing me all the time. So, I mean, every one of you, every one of the members of the QPS that have fucking seen me, been within eyeshot of me, and has played a game with me, have been in contravention of the most basic human rights, the Geneva Convention. And when they've been goofing on me, like and playing the cruel and unusual psychological games, that's in contravention of the Geneva Convention. So, I mean, and you're a police officer. So, as a police officer, your qualified immunity as a state QPS doesn't cover you from, like, it doesn't protect you from, it doesn't allow you to do that. So you created a counter narrative that was not true, and then you went out of your way to create it, not thinking that thinking that the person's a local person that you could get away with doing it, not understanding that you couldn't actually do it to that person. this person, definitely not this person. Doing it to this person would take down the whole of Australia and prove that Australia is holding American prisoners and fucking torturing American prisoners inside Australia to this day, right this second, whilst we're at war with Russia. So who's in charge here in Caloundra? It has to be Russia. If I'm being deprived, right, of food and jobs and opportunities and being banned from the public space, right? Like who's seriously who's and I'm American, right? I'm being fucked up for my connections with American, which against the 1991 Anti-Discrimination Act. Race is a and nationality is a complicated thing. It can be like how you're connected to race and stuff. You don't necessarily have to be, or a nationality, you don't necessarily have to be from there. Like if you're a US contractor, for example, and people are fucking discriminating against you with the US thing, or they're discriminating against you with the Jewish thing. So the problem has always been, even on the YouTube videos when you're calling me the G word, the police here to try to get me to react. Did you not understand that your whole case, like everything that you were doing, was in contravention of the Geneva Convention, the Geneva Accords on the treatment of fucking prisoners of war? And that the fact that you took a prisoner of war and that now your fucking nose is bent out of shape because you've been pulled up for keeping an American prisoner of war for 6 years and because it's going to be detrimental to your fucking career. You were like, oh, I kept this American prisoner. I've just got him in this fucking shed in Caloundra. I'm just going to leave it there. I've told him I'm going to fuck him, but I'll see how I go. I know. Okay, 5.5 years later. Like, I mean, this is the thing. You haven't even checked in. You've never checked in with me. Not even yesterday, not today. And then when I say something, I make a complaint. You're like, you just fucked everything up between us. It's like, what is there between us? I can't see you. I've never saw you. Right? So before I cleaned this up and I put nice art there. Now homeless people rub fecal shit all over it, right? And you fucked that up. I had like a little street art tribute to her there at one time. She fucked it up. So at what point? It's like even today, they're still struggling with it. They're struggling with it. They struggle with it. They struggle with the concept that they have contravened the Geneva Convention and that, like, the Australians didn't do that with the Japanese in the Second World War. The Australians didn't do that with the Vietnamese in the Vietnam War. What you've done. Nobody has ever done anything with a system, a bureaucratic system, as evil and as depraved as you guys. And I'll say, okay, you can say this about the situation, right? You've proven to us evil. If you look at it, you look at the case and you look at the machinations and everything that come from it, it's evil. It's an evil case. It's pure evil. It's the best example. The case here in Caloundra is the best case of example of the devil, the existence of Satan, the existence of Satanism and of the devil, and also a revelation of Jesus, right? But it's you can see I was trying to bring her to the Lord, and then she was so brought to Satan that she brought all of you to Satan with her. Right now, she's realizing I'm burning in fucking hell. I've taken everybody to Satan because I went to like private school. I was too dumb to work out that I can too be evil. So they didn't follow the Geneva Convention. What's going on now is like I'm doing podcasts all the time. So throughout the day, I might do maybe 20-minute podcasts or maybe less, something like that. But throughout the day, I just get on, I rap now. So yeah, I used to get on and I used to do podcasts when I was angry or something, but now I just like, I get on, I do about 20 minutes and I talk about a whole bunch of topics across 20 minutes. And that's just kind of like my approach now. Out the front of spinners here. But yeah, so I said, like, with the medical thing, I had cancer in my face and you lied about that. And then you cut it out and you put one stitch in there and you didn't give me antibiotics. All these things are in contravention of the Geneva Accords, like the way that you treat prisoners. Everything that you've done has been like, so what you've done with the QPS is you've taken all the examples of Stalin and Mao and all of the worst, like Mussolini and Hitler, and then you've fucking thrown it at me over 6 years, and then you've like experimented with the process of and the execution of those eugenics concepts. So when I was at the Kiwana private and I was there as a donor, sperm donor, I've got fucking recordings on my phone of people calling me up from the Queensland government and yelling anti-Semitic slurs at me and hanging up as I'm walking out of the QFG. Because in my DNA data, it shows I'm Jewish and Aboriginal. Anyway,